Hello, darling.
Hello, everyone. My name's Sydnie Christmas.
That's an unbelievable name.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It's not.
Sydnie Christmas was an outstanding participant in Britain's Got Talent, who touched every heart with her voice and gave such a great performance. Long after she performed on that stage, that moment remains fresh in the memory of everyone who saw it, earning her the exposure that she needed to push her career. However, despite the resounding success, she has faced a lot of criticism for her performance, and people have even made it clear that BGT should never have let her on the stage in the first place. So, what exactly could have gone wrong? We will get into this in a minute. But first, let's look at the early life and career of Sydnie Christmas. Being born into a creative family, she showed real potential in this area as early as possible. Most of the time, she was surrounded by the sound of music because her parents listened to her soulful songs and noticed something really special in her voice when she was just a child. Be it singing for the family or competing in different talent shows at a local level, the love for music was present in Sydnie, and soon she became renowned in her locality for having an enchanting voice. She had spent an early childhood molded by a deep interest in singing, and thus Sydnie's journey into the world of music. Soon it was more than evident that she had a knack for singing, as she started singing along to popular hits with startling precision. Her parents wasted no time in encouraging this newfound interest of hers. At 7, Sydnie had begun voice lessons to further her craft, and through these early years found a love for the wide varieties of musical genres, from pop to classical. She was versatile in understanding music, which added to her being a performer. Her first public performance started with the school talent show, where she never failed to make people gasp with an intense voice full of emotion and confidence on stage. It wasn't long before Sydnie's teachers and peers realized this child was gifted with a talent worthy of taking to the next level. In addition to her education, she started performing at local events and even participated in minor singing competitions. All these initial shows not only helped her gain ample experience, but also trained her for the bigger stage that awaited her on BGT. By the time she was in her early teens, Sydnie was starting to become something of a local celebrity, known among all else for her simply amazing voice and how she could relate to an audience. She then auditioned for the show Britain's Got Talent, and well, that was her big break. She left the judges impressed after such an engaging performance. With her extensive vocal range, emotional delivery, and engaging stage presence, she did stand out from most contestants. Though young, the performance touched deep inside and moved everyone's emotions, being a testament to the hard work put into cultivating talent from an early age. Sydnie's appearance on Britain's Got Talent marked a major turning point in her career, affording her a widely viewed platform to showcase her considerable talent. Her audition received a standing ovation from both the judges and the audience, and she was sure to rise as a star. While her journey was yet to be realized, her early life had laid a pretty sound base for a successful music career. Sydnie Christmas left the audience and judges on the popular talent show Britain's Got Talent speechless with an emotionally charged performance of Tomorrow, the signature song from the musical Annie. No one was prepared for the delightful shriek that would occur once this young lady hit the stage, although she did come across as confident and determined from the very outset. Tomorrow is a song well remembered and recognized by many for its depth in emotion and vocal complexity. It's a challenging song, especially for a young singer such as Sydnie. The song requires a great range of voice and emotional expression, from hope to frailty, which is not so easy to combine. The audience reacted to her announcement with murmurs of curiosity and concern, because many wondered if she would be able to pull off such a difficult piece. From the first note, though, it was evident that Sydnie was in control. As she started singing, her voice filled the room, clear, powerful, and emotional beyond her years. Sydnie's assured negotiation of the song's tricky high notes and crescendos left the audience gasping. Besides singing in a remarkably brilliant voice, she captured the heart of the song. Each note was delivered with such precision and feeling that it immediately captivated everyone in the audience. As the song progressed, the audience's initial curiosity turned into sheer admiration. By the time she reached those signature high notes in the chorus, the crowd was visibly moved, many standing in anticipation of what would be one of those moments. The judges were also surprised with how mature and controlled Sydnie sounded, exchanging surprised and delighted looks. What really made this performance remarkable was how effortless it sounded, like she was merely gliding through the technical demands of the song, while still making great contact with its emotions through her lyrics. The audience exploded in applause when Sydnie reached the last note. They were standing on their feet, whistling and clapping, and were clearly touched by the performance. It was one of those reactions that only occurs when a true talent has just stepped onto the stage. The judges were no less astonished, offering Sydnie credit for courage regarding such a challenging song choice and delivering it with so much grace and emotion. One of the judges even went as far as to say they hadn't heard such a hearty rendition of Tomorrow with the technical ability for a long time. But the most unforgettable moment was when one of the more emotionally overwhelmed judges pressed the prestigious golden buzzer, and Sydnie was showered in a storm of golden confetti as the crowd cheered. That was indeed the defining moment for Sydnie, one that nailed her spot in the competition and booked her place among the really strong contestants. They praised her, of course, for the talent, but more importantly, for having the guts to be so ambitious and pull off such a challenging song. Sydnie Christmas's unforgettable performance of Tomorrow on Britain's Got Talent left a mark on everyone in that room, including the famously hard-to-impress Simon Cowell. Known for his tough critiques and high standards, Cowell rarely seems impressed, and even less so by young performers. However, Sydnie's stunning delivery of the iconic song from Annie completely flipped that dynamic. From the second Sydnie started singing, Cowell's usual stern expression melted away. As the powerful voice echoed across the theater, it certainly became apparent that even Cowell was surprised by her talent. During her performance, the camera captured Cowell nodding his head, something rather rare to see from him since he reserves his praise for the best of the best. The presence of emotion could be seen across his face. As Sydnie hit the high notes flawlessly, a small smile began to develop on his face. By the close of the performance, Cowell was leading the audience in a standing ovation, thoroughly impressed with the incredible vocal control and emotional depth of the young singer. Following her singing, Cowell didn't hold back with his feedback to let her know that he was surprised and utterly impressed with Sydnie. He said that taking up a song with such a high standard as Tomorrow was a huge risk to take by any performer, much less a young Sydnie, and went on to commend her for rising to the challenge and exceeding everyone's expectations. He referred to her voice as extraordinary and one of the best performances he'd had from any young talent across the show. This coming from Cowell was a huge compliment, as he is known for setting the standard high. Bruno Tonioli was just as moved by Sydnie's performance. With his background in performing arts and choreography, Bruno is no stranger to recognizing talent that is true. Visibly very present throughout the performance, his eyes would light up with every strong note Sydnie hit. On the last note, Bruno jumped up from his chair, applauding enthusiastically. During the critique, Bruno congratulated not only her vocal ability but also her connection with the song. According to him, Sydnie sang with a maturity of voice that was well beyond her years, and praised her for having the guts to pick such a difficult song. Bruno's energetic, enthusiastic praise seemed to match the excitement of the moment in the room. The most emotive comment, though, came from Amanda Holden, whose breath seemed taken away by the performance. As Sydnie reached the last notes of Tomorrow, Amanda could be seen wiping away tears, visibly moved by the combination of Sydnie's vocal talent and the emotional delivery of the song. When the performance was over and the crowd erupted in applause, Amanda did not waste any time reaching for that golden buzzer, sending gold confetti cascading down on Sydnie as the crowd roared with its approval. Moments of hitting the golden buzzer are rare and special moments, and this decision by Amanda showed how touching Sydnie's performance must have gotten to her. An emotional Amanda had given her critique, saying that she was completely arrested by Sydnie's voice and congratulated her on performing a song that was both vocally demanding and emotionally rich. She said it was magical, and one of those moments on the show she would never forget. Though most people were won over by the appearance of Sydnie Christmas on Britain's Got Talent, that was not the general view of every other person. Some portion of audiences and critics showed their dissatisfaction, feeling that she had an edge over others since Sydnie was already an established performer. These critics felt that Britain's Got Talent was supposed to be a launching pad for unknown talents and up-and-coming performers, not for those who have already gained some success or following in the entertainment world. Sydnie may be young, but her record is a rather long one. Before she auditioned for BGT, she had been in a number of well-known productions. Perhaps one of her biggest roles was in Starlight Express, that iconic Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, which requires both strong vocal talent and demanding physical performances. Being part of such a huge production at an early age can say much about Sydnie's capabilities and experience in the entertainment world. Her involvement in Starlight Express has put her in the limelight at an early age and has marked her as one of the budding stars in musical theater. Other than Starlight Express, Sydnie has been involved with several successful productions and performances both on stage and in concerts. She has sung at prestigious events, appeared in smaller stage shows, and been part of several musical showcases. In so doing, she gained considerable stage presence and a level of professional polish outshone by very few of her fellow BGT contestants. This background in theater led some to question whether Sydnie was really an undiscovered talent. The critics felt that the show Britain's Got Talent should be saved for people who are at the very beginning of their careers, with no professional experience whatsoever. To them, it seemed unfair for Sydnie to appear on the show because her previous work in successful productions might have given her an edge over less experienced competitors. Many noted that BGT had for long been a launching pad for those singers, dancers, and entertainers who were virtual unknowns in the business, and they felt Sydnie, with her past credits, had already had a chance for success. Social media lit up with the debate from the quarters, protesting that the show was made to provide opportunities to people who hadn't been accorded their proper share on leading stages. Well, this camp felt that Sydnie had done huge productions like Starlight Express, and hence BGT didn't need her as it might other contestants, while she overshadowed raw talents who tried to make it big. However, a lot of people defended Sydnie, saying that it was quite all right for her to appear, and that talent was talent, no matter what the history. They would show that she was still young in spite of her history, and also that BGT could offer new chances and broader coverage. They also referred to the fact that several professional performers have been gracing their stage on numerous occasions, and that BGT is meant to bring forward various forms of talents, be they amateur or experienced performers. By the time the controversy over Sydnie Christmas's involvement with Britain's Got Talent finally died down, it had become part of a more profound and general debate relating to the nature of the competition. Some were quick to blast her for already having an established career, while others did not feel that should matter since talent is talent and should be rewarded no matter what past it has. But Sydnie's story was far from over on the show, and prior successes literally had nothing to do with the viewers' reactions when she received a golden buzzer. Sydnie Christmas is not the first already established performer to appear on Britain's Got Talent, and her appearance has renewed a debate that has been on previously. Over the years, many other contestants who have had substantial experience and established careers have performed on the show. This has raised controversy and ire from audiences who believe it's a platform given to those who haven't yet had their break. One famous example is Christian Spryden, a performer from South Africa who competed on Britain's Got Talent in 2014. At that time, Christian was not a name known in the UK, though he was no stranger to entertaining people, having enjoyed a good career as an entertainer in his native South Africa, where he could boast of having earned himself the reputation of a flamboyant and eccentric artist. His performances have become the stuff of legend, but he brought this energy to BGT, and this past career became an issue of controversy. Many viewers felt that Christian, with such experience in the past, didn't deserve to take the place of other contestants who actually never had been into showbiz. The inclusion of such contestants called into question the very equity of allowing seasoned professionals to compete against true amateurs. Another shining example is the salsa dancing tandem of Patty and Nico, who ventured into the BGT stage in 2014. 79-year-old Patty Jones and her dancing partner Nico took the judges' and audience's jaws with their outstanding salsa routines to earn them the golden buzzer via Amanda Holden. What they may not have known at that point was that Patty had set a Guinness World Record as the world's oldest acrobatic salsa dancer had appeared sometime earlier on the Spanish version of Got Talent and had enjoyed considerable success. When this fact came to light, some fan backlash was given because it was felt that BGT should be used to provide a stage for unknown performers and not for those who have already gained popularity and awards elsewhere. This constant criticism is part of a larger controversy regarding what Britain's Got Talent is becoming. One criticism in this regard, voiced by many of the followers of this show, is that such a competition should be a launchpad for genuinely unknown talent. To critics, this takes the show out of its spirit and puts contestants who have never taken part in any form of entertainment at a disadvantage. The inclusion of established performers like Sydnie Christmas, Christian Spryden, and Patty and Nico thus usurps the very spirit of the show. Notwithstanding the backlash from some quarters, some insist that talent should be rewarded irrespective of past experiences. Those supporting the allowance for established performers to compete say that even seasoned performers can gain from the mass exposure BGT offers, and it is immaterial if a performance is top class. Others further support this argument by mentioning that not all those performers with past experience must have had those opportunities in the UK, hence, BGT will be useful for expanding their careers. Of course, Sydnie's involvement only perpetuated that argument, but her incredible talent and the resoundingly positive reception she received on stage served as a reminder that, at its core, Britain's Got Talent is still an exhibition of unbelievably talented performances. Despite all the criticism due to her appearance in Britain's Got Talent, Sydnie Christmas kept her cool and directly addressed these issues. In response to the feelings of unfairness due to her already being an established career artist, Sydnie said that the reason she auditioned for BGT was because she sought more opportunities. She said for a long time she has been hoping to perform on Broadway and saw the show as one of the stepping stones toward realizing her aspiration. According to her, BGT is a means to reach a bigger audience and take her career into an entirely different dimension, especially in the highly competitive world of musical theater. Sydnie's aspirations for Broadway were at the core of her drive, and she made sure to mention more often than not that whatever successes she had encountered to date, she had a long, long way to go yet. Immediately after her winning Golden Buzzer performance, she returned to her day job, once again putting in the hard work to learn her craft and become well known within the industry. She keeps her work in balance with her performances and is still out to reach her dreams. Her appearance on BGT was not the height of her career, but one of the stepping stones for her future. She has always shown that, despite any criticisms, the drive to succeed is harnessed by a genuine love for performing. What's your opinion on this matter? Let's hear from you in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.